Alrighty, everybody. Good evening. Or evening for me. My sleep schedule's been so messed up. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Hope everyone is doing fantastic out there. Let me go ahead and get everything all finally situated and stuff. By the way, you guys, we actually have a new layout here. So I hope you guys like it. Spent a little bit of time on it here yesterday, or last night, I should say. Anyways, folks, it's good to see you guys. So we have a bit of an update here, a pretty big one too, on the tropics. We're gonna have to look out for. I lost a little squishy thing for the end of my microphone. I don't know where I keep losing the darn thing. But anyways, what's up, Cyclonic? Good to see you, man. Saying what's up, buddy? Not much, man. Just chilling. Just got done with church and everything like that. Now we're streaming for you guys. But anyways, hope you're doing good. What's up, Roby? Good to see ya. Hope you're doing well. But yeah. So like I said, we have quite an update here for you guys. We do have the system that we're still monitoring here in the Atlantic. This now has a 70% chance probability of development now, which has been a big upgrade since yesterday, whenever we actually looked at this here. And the next, let's see here, the next 48 hours of the next 2 days, we have a 40% chance here of probability of development now. So, odds are certainly increasing here. We're just gonna dive right on into it here. We're just gonna dive right into the models. And all that fun stuff. So let's go ahead and bring up the models here. Good to see you, Darielle. Hope you're doing well. I think that's how you say your name. If not, I'm terribly sorry. I'm very, very bad with names. If you're new here, it's just something that you'll get used to. But anyways, all right, everybody. So yeah, let's look at the models here. Let's see. Let's see what we got going on with the latest models. So it looks like the models have been trending up quite a bit here. Here, let's go North Atlantic. What's up, Emmanuel? Good to see you. So this is the latest GFS. You can see the system developing here. Pretty much, picking up some strength here within the next 3 days or so. So that's probably why that probability is overall increasing here. Goodness. But yeah, we'll definitely have to watch this one. So the latest GFS has the system kind of approaching near the Antilles here, the northern side of the Antilles, near the Virgin Islands here. GFS wants that to happen sometime right around the evening of the 10th. So that's in about 5 days. So, I mean, this is within reasonable time frame. It's not like it's extremely, in the la zone, or la territory or whatever. But anyways, yeah, no, GFS really has the system picking up quite a bit here. Obviously, what's going to go on beyond this point is still a little unknown. GFS wants the system to steer up to the north, but I think a lot of that could determine on how strong this potential high could be. I mean, if this thing is stronger and if it's further south, I mean, that could warrant it to go further west. Anything at this hour could still change a little bit, so we'll definitely be looking out for that. Euro, not as significant here. This is the 06 UTC. Here's the 12 UTC run. Yeah, honestly, Euro is one of the only models that really doesn't pick up too crazily on this system. Next up, we have CMC, and you can actually see, yeah, definitely CMC picks up on quite a bit of... quite a bit of strength here. It's, not as strong as GFS, but it does get pretty close to the Antilles there again. And once again, there's that high pressure up here in the northeast here. Like I said, that's going to be important. The position and the strength of this high. Once again, if it's further south, that would likely push the storm further south as well. So we'll have to monitor that. Yeah, like I said, anything beyond this point is just a little bit too early to tell. This thing will get pretty close to the Antilles. Would not be hurting to watch the Antilles if you guys live out there. Or if you know anybody who lives out there, just, give them a heads up. Anyways, let's see here. Nightbot in the middle of the morning. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Roby says, "Grr, I know it's not weather related, but has anyone else noticed how can openers seem to be cheap pieces of junk? Can't seem to keep one working for a year." That's pretty funny because the one we have is actually a piece of junk too. Yeah, it's not doing too good, man. The other day, I know this is very off topic. I was opening a can of raviolis, right? So whenever I was doing that, the tab broke for it, so I was stuck with literally, yeah, just a can without a tab. Put it in the can opener, and it wouldn't even cut it. It sucked. But anyways, off topic there. I figured I'd mention this since you brought that up. But but yeah, like I said, CMC also picks up quite a bit on the system here. Getting pretty close to the Antilles, pretty close to the Virgin Islands here. We'll definitely, definitely be monitoring that. Let's see here, James, dude, coming in with a $2 Cash App donation, saying thanks, man. No problem, dude. Thank you so much. That's greatly appreciated, my friend. But anyways, thank you so much for that. That helps out a ton. Let's see, get a wine cork? A cork? Or, huh? I don't think a cork is going to do anything. Anyways, but yeah, so CMC, GFS are on point. Also, Icon, look at this. Icon does have the system getting right over the Virgin Islands here, right over the Northern Antilles. Going back to GFS, you can see a little bit further to the north here. Then, of course, you have, let's see, your Icon, there's that, there's GFS, and then here is the CMC. So CMC is the farthest north model out of the four we looked at. Once again, Euro didn't pick up too much on it. But right now, we got a lot of support for CMC, GFS, and the Icon. Icon, like I said, really kind of wants the system to be pretty nasty. And, like I said, the position of this high is going to be very important with the system here. Sorry, just irritated with how cheap the world and products have become. Well, I mean, there are still good products out there. You just got to, sometimes spend a little bit more to get better things. But I can understand. Let's see here. Wine cork and a knife combo works great. Huh. Corbin says Bermuda possibly again. Too early. Too early to tell. Now, there is some model guidance that has it shifting far to the north here, at the end of the cycle. I mean, this is at like 180 hours out, which is, kind of pushing it right to the end of the model run here. But at this point, because there's so many moving parts, it's going to be very difficult to be for sure. Because, like I said, we have this high pressure. We actually have another low that develops according to the Icon here. GFS not as much. These little systems, Icon shows it. Or was that the one that did show it? Anyways, but yeah, look at this. CMC has another cyclone, maybe some Fujiwara stuff going on. Like I said, it's too early to tell. Models are still just kind of all over the place with that. So we'll have to see what happens. We'll have to see what happens with it, But the point now, I wouldn't go any further than the system getting near the Antilles. I mean, obviously, just in that alone, there's a lot of disagreement here. CMC versus Icon, a good couple 100-mile difference there. Could definitely be a total different outcome. Also, strength-wise, it's Icon is a bit more significant per se, a little bit more severe. Or more strong. Yeah, look at that. Icon really wants the system to become a big storm. So, we'll see. But yeah, it's just too early to tell beyond that point here. I mean, we'll definitely monitor it. We'll definitely, keep an eye out there for it, y'all. And we'll let you guys know. By the way, what do you guys think of the new layout here? I spent a lot of time on this last night working on it. Hope you guys like it. I think it looks pretty good. Those icons in the top left here, those actually were supposed to have color, but I need to recolor them because it didn't save properly. Anyways, Emmanuel says the season's been too much high pressure to bring any ashore. Well, not necessarily. See, with a lot of, if you have a strong Bermuda high, that would allow for storms to go further west. If you have a weaker Bermuda high, that would allow for storms to sometimes sneak through. Now, it depends on where you mean. I guess I'm assuming you probably mean the high pressure in the States. Because, yes, if there is a strong area of high in the States, that could act pretty much like a shield and deflect some storms off, which we have seen that a couple times. I'm pretty sure that's probably what you meant by that. But yeah, I mean, high placement is very important. Low placement as well. Just different low pressure systems, different high pressure systems. I mean, it's just these can all steer other storm systems in general. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of moving parts here, man. You got this guy over here, you got this high over here, this big gradient here between this high and low pressure system here. That could really, really significantly change the outcome of where the thing could go. So it's just too early to tell. It really is. But what we can tell you is that, probability is Oh, is it an invest now? It's got a 90. That means it's an invest, isn't it? Oh, wow. All right, we might have some hurricane data or hurricane model data. Let's see. 95L. Okay, we do not have the main hurricane models yet, but we do have the GEFS ensembles we can look at here. Let's take a peek at those real fast. Here's the GEFS ensemble. So yeah, I mean, you can see some of the members going right over the Antilles, right over the Virgin Islands there, right there towards that median. You have some models you can see. I mean, most of them kind of pulled north here, but like I said, that could easily change. I mean, because look how far this distance is. I mean, that's several days, 24 hours, 1 day out, 48 hours, 2 days, 3, 4, 5. Obviously that's pushing it, 5, 6 days out. Things could really change. Honestly, things don't get really locked in from what I've noticed statistically until about day 3 days out, basically. I mean, obviously sometimes there's some big changes then even, but I mean, we're talking the span of 5, 6, 7 days. That's a pretty good time frame there. And it's got a lot of land to cover, or I guess not land, but you go. I mean, a lot of area to cover before it gets over here. So there's a lot of changes that could be made, especially with all those moving parts we were talking about. With those high, with that big high we have coming off of Canada, and then of course that low that's could develop off the Florida East Coast. And it just depends, how strong, how big, where. It's so many factors, so many little things can change the overall outcome. Anyways, let's see. Your gamer says, hello, hope everything is well. Let's see here. You're now in Puerto Rico. Let's hope nothing crazy happens here. Gotcha. Yeah, Puerto Rico, I mean, right now, guidance is still pretty early, so things can still change. I would keep an eye on it out there. I mean, like I mentioned, also for the Virgin Islands, the Antilles. We do need to watch those areas here. I mean, Puerto Rico wouldn't hurt to obviously watch it either, because there is possibility. It is a possible scenario that the system could pull to the south, go nearby. I think it's the what was it? The CMC or the Icon that wanted it to go out there. Yeah, you can see this Icon has it getting pretty close to Puerto Rico. So, yeah, like I mentioned, it's just too early to tell. I mean, the models are still kind of all off the walls right now. GFS has the system several hundred miles away. CMC a lot further up north at a different time. Yeah, it's just too early to be for sure at that far. Basically everybody in this circle here, should monitor it essentially. The Antilles should monitor it, the Virgin Islands, we'll keep an eye on Puerto Rico and stuff like that. I mean, stuff can change, but, once again, anything beyond this point is just too early to tell. I mean, obviously, if we were certain, or if we had a good idea of where it would go beyond that point, the cone would be extended, or the development area would be extended. Because we'd have more guidance, more, what's the word for it? More agreement, more, yeah, you get it. More agreement, essentially. More confidence. There you go. It's a good term for it. Anyways, but yeah, so like I said, we'll just watch it. I mean, definitely need the Antilles to start watching the system here. It's going to need to be watched. And, strength-wise, it seems like the models are heating up quite a bit. Once again, GFS, CMC, Icon all show hurricane potential. I do want to hop over to some more of these ensembles with you guys. So let's do that now. Here, let me bring up the site here for you guys. We'll bring this up so I can show y'all's ensembles here. Let's start off with the ECENS here. Let me make this fit a little bit better for you guys so you can see it a little bit better. Oop. Zoom it out just a little bit. There we go. Now you can see most of it. So let's go to a maximum of 180 hours out. Once again, I don't like to go any further than that usually. So let me also bring out my pen here. It's good to kind of see where the majority of the models are at. So we'll take the median between these members. So we'll do blue, kind of a medium blue for the ECENS. So the middle ground, has it kind of doing something like this. Obviously can't go any further than that. So there is a little bit of steering support, later down in time. But like I said, stuff like that at that distance can easily change. GEFS, you can see, is a little bit further south. We'll do yellow. No, we'll do pink for that one. You can see having the system, a little bit further south pretty much. So we're kind of going to grab the median for all these models here. We'll do black for the FNV3 here. FNV3 is a little bit more north, as you can kind of tell. So roughly in here, pulling east a little bit earlier. Like I said, that's not final yet. Things can absolutely change. So just don't immediately assume that it's going to pull north because, I know there is a decent amount of agreement on it, but you'd be surprised at how quickly that can change. With that distance, what I'm saying? This is a good 5 days out by the time it could start to steer. So here's the GENC. This is not the FNV3. We just did the FNV3. This is the I'm thinking GDM. This is the GENC. Yes, the GDM GENC. We did the GDM FNV3 last time. So the GENC, we'll use orange, kind of showing the middle ground right in here. So, yeah, you can see that, there's a lot of different opinions here, of what could happen, with the track of the system. This is just the median between these ensembles here for the most part. So, definitely, like I said, we'll definitely be watching it pretty closely. And like I said, things can change. This thing could steer more to the west or more to the south. There's so many moving parts, like I mentioned, that is going to make this system very difficult to track at this range. You know what I'm saying? So, kind of hopping back to the main models here, I'll go ahead and show you guys for the people just joining. Like, here's GFS, so you can see, there's going to be a lot of moving parts. We have this high up here in the North Atlantic. We kind of got this little low trough that develops here, just off the east coast of the U.S. That could even steer the system a bit differently. Other models are way, way more significant on that. Like, look at the icon here. A pretty tight pressure gradient here between this high and this low pressure system here. You can see, one up here by the north, if that moved down to the south a bit, that could really change the overall steering, of this tropical system. And like I said, this is for the 11th. This is like 6 days out, which things could absolutely change at that distance, So we'll watch it. Like I mentioned, it's definitely something we'll definitely keep an eye out there for. We'll continue to update you guys on this. Is it something to worry about? No, it's not something to worry about. Is it something to watch? Yes, it is something to watch. It is definitely something you guys need to monitor. So we're going to go ahead and activate our monitoring status. You guys need to watch it. Is there any reason to panic? No. Preparations, should they be made yet? Not really, but I would highly advise the Antilles to monitor it, and if it becomes more clear that there will be direct impacts, which is possible, we'll tell you guys to really start. You should be prepared for hurricane season anyways. But do I mean like go out to the store and buy everything in the grocery? No, it's not needed. But like I mentioned, if that does become a bit stronger, more clear that there will be direct impacts, then obviously we'll let you guys know. We'll keep you guys up to date. Okay. What's up, Mark? Good to see you, man. But anyways, so yeah, we'll definitely be monitoring you guys, with the system here. We'll be monitoring the system with you guys. I think that's what I meant to say. But anyways, yeah, so like I said, if you guys have any questions about it, hey, feel free to let me know. We'll definitely keep you guys up to date with everything. But yeah, man, that's pretty much what's going on there with that system. Now, talking U.S. stuff, severe weather-wise, we got a little cigar type of threat today. for portions of central Kansas, southeast Nebraska, southwestern Iowa. Good news, no tornadoes today. We do have a little bit of a wind threat here, a little 5% threat, and also a little 5% hail threat. So we could see some gusts upwards of 60 miles an hour, some hail between 1 to 2 inches in diameter today. Tomorrow, nothing severe, although the green areas here that's listed could see some storms, just typical general thunderstorm threat here for the southeast, Florida, of course, going through the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, Central Plains, and a little bit of the southwest out there by New Mexico. Some of the Rockies could be included there. And then day 3, day after tomorrow, that thunderstorm threat actually extends all the way up into the northeast, really far up, all the way through Maine, all the way down to New Mexico, down to Florida. So you can see there's kind of a big area here where we could see some storms for the day after tomorrow. But nothing severe. Other than today, nothing really. Just, once again, a little bit of gusty winds, a little bit of hail could be possible. Looking at radar now, it doesn't look like there's really much going on. Maybe a few little pop-up showers, but a lot of that convection is probably going to be later on this evening here. But anyways. But all right, everybody. Well, thanks for joining. Very, very quick little live stream. Just wanted to hop on here for a few minutes with you guys. Talk about the latest updates on the system. If y'all enjoyed it, leave a like, hit that subscribe button. It'd be greatly appreciated. But yeah, like I said, we'll try to go live here soon. Again, my sleep schedule, like I mentioned earlier, has been terrible. I've been up all night, asleep during all day, so I need to get to bed here. Let's see here. Let's see here. There is no threat for any tropical system coming near the Gulf right now. Yeah, there's no area. Well, the Hurricane Center, they did have a little 10% or no 0% area. The 10% was in the Caribbean here, but no, they've since removed it. I'm pretty sure. It's not on here. Well, no, it's still there, but look at this. This is what 0% chance of development. They mentioned that I think upper levels are going to was preventing the system from kicking off. Let's see, development of the system is not expected due to strong upper level winds. Yeah, so that's not going to do nothing. But we'll definitely just keep an eye on this guy. Once again, probability is now 70%, which is a good possibility. More than likely now we'll get at least a depression out of this here, which, at the rate the models are going, I would not be surprised if we get maybe even a tropical storm, maybe even a hurricane out of it. Models are showing some favorable conditions down in time, which I think that, we could see some hurricane activity out of this thing. So that's why we'll need to watch it very, very closely. The Hurricane Center, they said, a broad area of low pressure associated with a tropical wave continues to produce a large area of disorganized showers and thunderstorms several hundred miles to southeast of Cabo Verde Islands. Environmental conditions appear conducive for additional development of the system, and a tropical depression is likely to form this week as the system moves quickly across the central tropical Atlantic, approaching portions of the Leeward Islands by the latter part of this week. Formation chance in the next 48 hours, 40%, so possible, but not super likely right now. And formation chance in the next 7 days, high, 70%. So it's pretty likely that we'll see a system within the next 7 days. So keep an eye on it. Anyways, folks. But like I said, very, very quick little live stream here. Just wanted to hop on here with you guys for a little bit just to kind of talk about, the weather and what the weather's doing. What the weather doing. That was a bad joke. But all right, everybody. Well, you guys take care. Y'all have a great day. Yeah, like I said, we'll try to catch you guys tonight. Once again, sleep schedule's been terrible. I really apologize. Ever since that storm for Bermuda, it's just been, my sleep schedule's been terrible. Asleep all night, awake all day for the most part. Or, hold on. No, that's typical schedule. Sorry, I said that wrong. Awake all night, asleep most of the day. There we go. Yeah, so I'm hoping to change that hopefully here soon. And knowing my luck, knowing the way that things will probably go, not that they will, but there's no support on that right now. But say, knowing my luck, the system becomes a problem and hits somewhere at nighttime. I'm going to have to change my sleep schedule again. That's my luck. But once again, no imminent danger for the system here. Just need to monitor it. Definitely just keep an eye out there for it. But all right, everybody. Well, you guys take care. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you guys here later on, probably late tonight. We'll hope to do another update for you guys, and we'll have some more information. Okay? Alrighty, everybody. Thanks for joining. You guys take care. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, my friends. See ya later on.